Welcome to this week's Bridging the Gap. I'm Johnny Angel Hunt. This is my partner, Byron Nash.
Hey everybody. So Jack,
Yes.
big question's been haunting me this week because I'm finding myself split between being an artist and being a professional. And I was thinking about your history when you made the decision I want to be a professional musician versus just playing some music. What was the turning point for you?
I knew I wanted to be a musician from the time I was a kid. I mean, my parents, my mother played guitar and my uncles played guitars, and they used to get together and do that stuff. And they wanted me to play the accordion, which I did not want to play. But I started actually singing in church choir. And I sang Jesus Loves Me as my first solo when I was 5 years old. And then later on, at street corner, we would get together on a street corner. Some of my neighbors were the original Marcells, so I always tried to sing with them, but we were too young. They just shoot us off, you know what I mean? But at that point, I knew that I wanted to play drums, and I wanted to sing.
Okay.
And so I took up drums in high school.
So what was the point where you started gigging out, and it's one thing to play, but then I have to figure out how to book a gig, and I have to figure out how to do these professional things and let people know about the music and promotion, marketing. When did all of that kind of come into play?
You're find this hard to believe, but I'm kind of a control freak.
I've heard that. I've heard that about you.
But from a very young age, I was an organizer, and when I got together with Al Lip, who was my partner, and my cousin Jimmy, and we put together this little band, and I knew from 13 years old that I was going to be the leader of the band, and someone had to take direction, and I had a vision where I wanted to go. And unfortunately, the rest of the band didn't have the same vision that I did. So that's hard, I was deep into soul music, rhythm and blues. They were deep into what was becoming the Beatles. You know what I mean? So it was kind of hard. But how about you? How did you get the first?
Honestly, it was through working at a rock magazine. I was a musician before that, but I was an artist, so I had an internship at a magazine called The Rock and Roll Reporter. And through working there, I just kind of saw the inner workings behind the scenes, where I felt like it was more of an advantage that I had, because a lot of times the musicians, they know how to play, but they don't know how to network, or they don't know how to be backstage, or they don't know how to, negotiate money and things like that. And I had to learn that from the ground up. But sort of watching other people's mistakes, we'd have bands say, hey, you didn't write about us. I'm like, did you send in your press kit? Something as simple as that, but you wouldn't know. Or did you send it in by the deadline? Things like that, where it shaped me in my business sense to be you got to be on time, you got to send the emails, you got to do the letters, you got to meet people. So it kind of just taught me how to build relationships. That's really what the business is. But I didn't know I was even in doing that, I didn't know I was going to become a professional musician until after that.
At what age did you feel like you were going to be a musician?
Oh, I'm a late bloomer, man. I didn't start till 27.
Okay.
Yeah, 27, 28.
See, I knew from the time I was a kid. I mean, I would watch television shows on our little 10-inch screen, and I wanted to do that. I wanted to be a musician so bad. I mean, I liked being on stage from the time I was young, and but one of the things that was kind of crazy, how things have changed, is when we first got together, my guys didn't know what they wanted to do. It was just a matter of, let's get together and make some music and this and that. So the hard part is to get everybody's head on the same, in the same place, so that whenever you get together and you can share with each other in music, as a musician, you can't be by yourself unless you're a solo act, but you have to play off of the other ones.
Yeah, I like that energy of it. And thinking about what you said, I knew I wanted to do music, and I was inspired by the things that I saw and all the stars that I loved. I just didn't know that I could. And then later I was like, well, let's just give it a whirl. Just go out there and sound bad until it sounds good. Now it's I'm deep in it. I'm deep in the trenches. Sometimes, do you ever feel that it's kind of hard to juggle the two? Because there's the business side where that kind of takes up a lot of time. Has your art ever suffered a little bit because you had to be on your business game so much?
No, because I'm very anal when it comes to that. You know what I mean, man? It's I had to be in control of what I was doing. So the business part I learned from our manager, Mr. Lip. I mean, he taught me just about everything in the business, and he wasn't a businessman. He just knew. He had street smarts, know. And I knew that for the band to be successful, you had to be more than just a musician. For at least one of them in the band had to be the business part, But speaking of with the music and got us started, what were you listening to this week?
Man, so I've been studying up pretty heavy, and I chose Ella Fitzgerald in Berlin, Mac the Knife. Good story about this. So I had this huge poster of Ella in my living room, and all the jazz greats like Duke Ellington, and they're all they're in the Smoky Jazz Club where you know that they weren't allowed to be together, and they're just looking at her with so much like love and adoration. But this one, oddly enough, the guy who ran the magazine that I worked at, he does records, sells records now, and he gave this to me, and it's autographed by Ella.
Are you kidding me?
No. So this was like sort of my prize.
That might go in my museum.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, so something about her during those times as a woman, you know, and like how hard it was, like race-wise, and you know, having to enter a venue through the back. I just have a high level of respect for this.
I have to jump on that with
you
you because the first time I heard that record, you know, she does a scat on Mac the Knife, which just blew me away because I guess she forgot the lyrics and made up her own.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. I mean, just her. She was an incredible performer.
Yeah. So what were you listening to this week?
I kind of have an incredible performer also, but this one is a little bit different. This was later in my career when this one came out, and I wasn't into this kind of music until I heard her. But it's Carole King. And
I have that record. It's great.
This is a super record, and there's so many great songs on here, but it showed me that there's more to music than what I loved. And what I loved was rhythm and blues, jazz, and soul music. And I didn't really listen to the Beatles much. I didn't listen to, but when I heard Carole King sing, and then I realized that she actually started writing back in the day I was talking about. She wrote for a lot of the girl groups and the whole bit, you know. So she was also not only a great singer, but she was a great artist and a great writer.
Yeah.
You know? So Carole King was my album of the week.
You know what? That's a fantastic record. And speaking of that record, we have a guest coming up, songwriter from Nashville, Ol Whitetail.
I love the name.
We got to figure out the name. We got to ask her, but stay tuned. We're going to do Jack in the Box first, and then we're going to bring her up.
And Alexis Thompson, be right with you.
Jack in the Box.
Hey, Jack in the Box, once again, check this one out. In my day, they had pinball machines. They had, go back. Pinball machines? This is how it started. When I was a kid, we had this game. It's called 5-in-1 Electric. It's kind of cool. You have one little, it shoots the balls, little ball-bearing balls, and you get them in the thing. Conch your score, right? No bing, bang, boom. There's nothing there. You had to make your own noises, right? But this is the way it started out back in the day, and it developed into one of my favorite things, and that was the pinball machine. Nothing but ginchy stuff.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We want to introduce our next guest, Alexis Thompson, who goes by the name of Ol Whitetail. So right out the gate, I got to ask you, where'd the name come from?
So I lived in Nashville for quite a while. I moved there right when I was like on my 19th birthday, and I started playing in a sort of like old-time ragtime music band. It was just me and my friend. And she's from like really rural area in Tennessee, and I'm from a really rural area in Pennsylvania. So she was Ol Raccoon, which is the Tennessee state animal. And I was Ol Whitetail, which is the Pennsylvania state animal.
Yeah.
And so I just like, honestly, like that was my social media handle because of our band.
Nice.
And then I was just like, actually that like really goes with what I'm doing when I play folk music. That's what it's like really about rural Pennsylvania. So I kept it.
You said rural Pennsylvania, which is actually Punxsutawney, right?
Out by Punxsutawney. Not even, it's like, it's called Sprinkles Mills.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So.
Now, when you were living in Nashville, were you not much country music at the time, or were you doing folk? What were you doing?
So I moved to Nashville to pursue a songwriting career.
Oh, okay.
Which would have been country music. But I was like very quickly encouraged to go an indie route because my songs aren't really country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, so like more like Emmylou Harris. They were like, oh, you know, like the Americana route, like Emmylou Harris sort of music. So I didn't really play a whole lot of country music. I had played bluegrass music before. I didn't play folk music for a while I was just doing like singer-songwritery, I would say in the realm of Americana.
How did you get into it?
Oh my gosh, I was probably like 6 or 7, and I just loved Patsy Cline, which is country too.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I started singing karaoke.
Oh, you serious?
Yeah, like when I was like 5 or 6 for the little talent shows, I just sang
Okay.
Patsy Cline karaoke everywhere.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, instrument-wise, you play guitar?
Yeah.
Is that your main?
That's my main instrument.
What else
yeah.
do you play?
I play banjo. I play. It's a 5-string banjo, but I only have 4 strings on it. And I play like a Piedmont blues sort of style.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a lot of instruments. I wouldn't say I play them. I mess around on other instruments. But those are the 2.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, who would you say was a main influence outside of Patsy Cline as a songwriter, since you went in that direction?
Yeah. So when I was probably 13 or 14, there was a song on country radio called Strawberry Wine. I don't know if it's like super pop. It was a super popular song. But I heard an interview with Matresa Berg, who was the songwriter. And when I heard that interview, I was like, oh, you can be just a songwriter.
Yeah.
You don't have to perform. And I really liked writing poetry and stuff. So like at that point, I think I had been writing songs, just like there wasn't an inspiration. I just was writing songs.
Yeah.
But when I found out it was something you could do for a profession,
Yes.
that's what really, that made me that day I was like, I want to move to Nashville and be a songwriter.
So when you're writing a song, I'm always curious about like people who are specifically songwriters. Maybe they have a little bit of instrumentation going on. Do you just kind of write the lyrics based off of what you're feeling? Is there a little bit of a cadence or rhyme style, and then the artist kind of takes that and turns it into a song? Or are you thinking this is how it should sound as well when it comes to the lyric part?
So I will usually start with lyrics.
Okay.
And an idea, or like it's a feeling, or whatever and then I'll write the music that meets the requirements of like getting that feeling out or getting that idea out. And I will. My approach to it is very much like a visual artist, because I studied visual art, and I just take my sketchbook and just like map out the parts I want to be there. And I'll choose words that are like, if I want this part of the song to be a little bit lighter and like, a little bit of a break, I'll choose words that sound lighter.
To kind of support that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I definitely like pay a lot of attention to not just the meaning of the words, but the sound of them.
Yeah.
That's the artist in you coming out.
Yeah.
Because,
I like
a
that.
lot of people can write down words, but when you can actually paint the picture with your words, it's
Yeah.
But that leads me to another question. At what point did you realize that you weren't going to be just a songwriter? You're going to perform in public also.
Well, it was, I was going to like pitch to publisher events.
Yes.
And the publishers were just like, publishers and other songwriters were like, your songs are really good and you shouldn't change them, but they're not commercial and they will never be on country radio.
Yeah.
And so I had to decide at that point, like, do I want to be like shy me and never be on, like, I don't want to be on stage, like, and just write like songs that I don't like and I'm not proud of, and then I just like have what I think is sustenance is just like, do I want to do that, or do I want to like be an artist and write? And so I stayed in Nashville, but I did decide to go that route pretty early on. I would say in my when I was like 20 or 21.
Are you happier because you did that?
I think so.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I think I probably could have honestly developed the artist side and also been a commercial songwriter.
Yeah.
But I was like really, stubborn when I was 20 and like, I'm an artist, So yeah, I mean, I'm happy I stuck with the artist route.
Yes.
Yeah.
What brought you back to Pittsburgh?
Honestly.
Yeah.
Nashville got too expensive.
That'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and my family's here, and it was
Okay.
close. So
Well, that's really cool.
And it's not my dream to be in Nashville. It was just, I really liked it because there were so many musicians. It was like, awesome, and my friends were there, but it got to the point where I was like, this isn't really serving me anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm working all the time to pay my bills.
Are you working much in Pittsburgh right now?
I am.
That's great.
Yeah,
Now, what kind of
yeah.
venues are you doing?
For music?
Yeah.
I just played at Club Cafe.
Nice.
Yeah, and I had my album release show there, and then I just played. Do you know Mark Dignam, Irish guy?
Yeah, he's great.
I just played for his Calm Before the Storm show a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
and that leads me to this, because what I want to do, I've never jammed with an artist that plays the style of music that you're doing.
Oh, cool.
So I want to. I think it's going to be a fun thing.
Okay.
So we're going to do a little jam session. As soon as we come back, we're going to welcome in. I'm talking about Byron's Bodega. Huh? Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Byron's Bodega. This week I want to talk about one of my main influences of how I got into guitar. It wasn't really off of music, it was off of imagery. And when I was a kid, Kiss was it for me. And especially Ace Frehley. If you notice, Flying V's in there, Lightning Bolt, just everything about his character and his aura, it was just super cool. Fast forward many years later, I got deep into Dimebag Darrell through Pantera, and I actually got to meet him. And what's cool about it is he's my guitar hero, but I have this photo of him and Ace Frehley where he was meeting his guitar hero for the first time. He even got him tattooed on his chest. And it's weird how there's this lineage of these two together. So I think from marketing and all of the things with what Kiss did and what Pantera did, it really rubbed off on me. And so it's these are my collectibles. Pantera. It's an alternate cover for Far Beyond Driven, which is the heaviest record to ever debut on Billboard charts, by the way, which happened 30 years ago or something now. But I just wanted to share this with you because I love Kiss, I love Pantera, and I love cool stuff.
We're going to close it out here today, but I want to tell you, welcome, and we had such a good time with Ol Whitetail, huh? Thank you so much. You did have some fun.
Stay tuned for the next episode of Bridging the Gap, guys. Thank you.